December is often seen as the most festive time of the year, filled with family gatherings, holiday cheer, and warm connections. But for some, especially those who are older and living alone, this season can bring a very different reality, one of loneliness and reflection. In today's video, we're diving into the emotional truths, untold stories, and hidden struggles of being old and alone during the holiday season. Whether you're here to better understand a loved one's experience or looking for advice on navigating this chapter yourself, this video is for you. Let's explore the challenges, the resilience, and the hope that can emerge from this poignant time of year. I would appreciate it if you like this video. You can help me continue to spread the old age lesson. If you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. If you like this video, please comment number 1. If you don't like it, comment number 0 to let me know so I can make a better video for you. Now let's get started. It's curious how the world sometimes seems to reflect our inner moods. As I stepped outside today, bundled up against the sharp, biting chill of December, the sky mirrored my state of mind. It was that same dull, heavy grey that's been pressing down on me for what feels like weeks. There's something about this time of year, isn't there? The cold air, the stillness, the way the days seem to drag on in their quiet, endless stretch. The season itself almost seems to be telling us to slow down, to pause and reflect. It forces us to look inward, to take stock of where we are in life and where we're headed, as though the world itself is asking us to confront the inevitable changes that come with time. As I stood there feeling the crisp wind against my face, I couldn't help but think about how perfectly the weather aligns with something I've been reflecting on lately, something I want to talk about today. The reality of being an elder orphan. For those familiar with the term, elder orphans are older adults who find themselves aging without the support of the family structures that many of us once took for granted. We're the ones who don't have children, no spouse, and often no immediate family to rely on. As we grow older, some people call us solo heirs, but I've never liked that label. It feels too tidy, too polished, like something you'd read on the back of a brochure for a trendy retirement community. It doesn't capture the true weight of the experience. The reality of being an elder orphan is much heavier and much more profound. It's not just about growing older alone, it's about facing the challenges of aging without a safety net, without the comfort of family close by. It's a quiet kind of loneliness that can feel almost invisible in a world that's constantly moving, always rushing forward, never stopping long enough to acknowledge the isolation some of us feel. I am one of them, an elder orphan. If you're watching this, maybe you are too, or perhaps you aren't there yet, but you're thinking about it, wondering what the future might hold, even if this doesn't seem relevant to you. Now the signs are clear. More and more of us are heading toward this reality. Family structures are changing, society is fragmenting, and the traditional safety nets that have supported generations of people are slowly fading away. When I talk about elder orphans, I'm not just referring to people who have lost their parents. It's more than that. It's about the absence of a deep, reliable family connection. It's about being truly alone as we age. No children, no spouse, no close relatives to rely on in times of crisis, or to share special moments with, like celebrating the holidays. Sure, you might have friends or acquaintances, a social circle, but when things get tough, when health starts to decline, when you need help the most, no one is truly obligated to be there. That's a heavy thought, especially as we get older and our needs become more complex and difficult to manage on our own. I live in low-income senior housing, which I'm truly thankful for. It's affordable, and I'm grateful to have a roof over my head. But the truth is, if my health were to take a turn for the worse, if I needed assisted living or more intensive care, what would I do? Assisted living is costly, and nursing homes often require you to empty your social security checks just to cover the bare minimum of care. The thought of spending my final years in an institution with no one to visit or advocate for me is a deeply frightening one. And I know that I'm not alone in feeling this way. The reality of aging without the support system we once took for granted can be overwhelming. The thing is, our society just isn't prepared for this. We don't have the necessary social safety nets to support the growing number of people who are aging alone right now. About 12% of adults over the age of 50 are considered elder orphans, and that number is on the rise. Even those with children aren't immune to this sense of isolation, distance, estrangement, or their struggles can mean that even with a biological family, support is far from guaranteed. It wasn't always like this. When I think back to my mother's generation, she grew up during the Great Depression, a time when community ties were much stronger. Families stayed together, and if someone was struggling, the community stepped in. My mother used to tell stories about how her family would take in neighbours or distant relatives who had nowhere else to go. It wasn't just about blood relations. It was about a shared sense of responsibility, a collective acknowledgement that we all have a part to play in looking out for each other. That kind of safety net, informal but effective, provided a level of security that seems hard to find today. Now we live in an age that prizes independence above all else, and asking for help can feel like admitting defeat or failure. But the truth is, none of us can do this alone. Not really. We're all going to need support at some point, and acknowledging that need doesn't make us weak, it makes us human. If you are still watching this video and finding these lessons useful, please comment number 1 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Thank you for your valuable time. As society shifts, we need to recognize the growing reality of elder orphans and work together to build a more inclusive, compassionate system that can provide for those of us who might otherwise be forgotten as we age, whether it's finding ways to strengthen community bonds or advocating for better resources and support systems. It's time for us to take responsibility for one another. The way my mother's generation did the future of elder orphans might seem uncertain, but with awareness and action, we can start building a more secure and supportive world for all of us. No matter what age we are, aging is an inevitable part of life. And while it's challenging enough when you have the support of family and friends, it becomes even more difficult when you find yourself facing it alone, without a strong network of support. The process of aging can feel overwhelming, isolating and daunting. The statistics surrounding aging and the need for long-term care are hard to ignore. Nearly 70% of us will eventually require some form of long-term care, whether it's through home health services, assisted living, or nursing homes. Yet despite these staggering numbers, most people haven't made adequate plans for what lies ahead. Many of us don't have the basic documents in place, such as a living will, power of attorney, or financial plan, to navigate the costs and decisions that come with aging. This isn't due to carelessness, but rather because the idea of confronting these difficult realities can feel terrifying. It's hard to imagine a future where we may no longer be able to care for ourselves, and even harder to prepare for it. I, too, have avoided these difficult conversations and decisions for much of my life, but as I've gotten older, I've realized that the sooner we face these uncomfortable truths, the better prepared we'll be. For me, taking charge of my health has been a vital first step. I've slowly begun a journey toward better health, focusing on losing weight and staying active as I grow older. It's not a fast process, but it's a steady one that I believe will make a difference. I walk every day. Even if it's just around the block, I engage in exercises specifically tailored for older adults, and I try to eat as well as I can. While there's no guarantee that this will protect me from all the challenges of aging, it's one area where I have some control, and that's empowering alongside taking care of my body. I've learned that social connections are just as crucial to my well-being. Loneliness, particularly as we age, can be a silent killer. It creeps up on you slowly and can affect your mental and physical health in profound ways, even if it's not immediately obvious. While I've been fortunate to be comfortable with solitude, for much of my life, I've come to understand that even someone like me needs some form of social connection to thrive. It's the little things, interacting with neighbours, staying in touch with old friends, or even a quick chat with a friendly face at the local store, that help maintain a sense of community and connection. If you find yourself struggling with loneliness, I strongly encourage you to take steps, however small, to connect with others. You don't have to make drastic changes right away, but consider joining a community group, signing up for a class, or volunteering for a cause you care about. If nothing else, start with small gestures like saying hello to someone you pass on your walk, or striking up a conversation with the cashier at the grocery store. Those small everyday moments of connection can accumulate into something truly meaningful. Another lifeline that has proven invaluable to many older adults is the companionship of pets. Studies have shown that owning a dog or a cat can have a significant positive impact on both mental and physical health. Pets offer unconditional love, reduce stress, and provide companionship, which is especially important as we age. They also provide a sense of purpose, something to care for and look after. I know of a neighbour in his 70s who faces serious health challenges, but keeps going in part because of his dog. That animal gives him a reason to get out of bed every morning and get moving. Even on the hardest days, in many ways pets serve as a bridge to a better quality of life. They help fill the gaps that can be left by the absence of family or friends, and they make the task of facing the day a little bit easier. But despite all of these personal strategies, focusing on health, staying connected with others, and finding purpose through activities like walking, volunteering, or caring for pets, the truth is that there are still significant hurdles that elder orphans and older adults in general face. These challenges are not just individual issues, they are societal problems that require collective attention. As a society, we need to acknowledge the growing needs of our aging population and begin addressing these challenges in a meaningful way. We must start talking more openly about aging and long-term care, raising awareness of the issues that older adults face every day. It's essential to advocate for policies that provide better support for older adults, such as affordable housing, improved access to healthcare, and more community programs that help seniors stay engaged and supported. When we make it easier for older adults to age with dignity and purpose, we not only improve their lives but also strengthen our communities as a whole. Ultimately, it's not enough to rely solely on personal efforts or individual strategies. While it's crucial to take care of our health, stay connected and find purpose in our daily lives, we must also work together as a society to ensure that older adults have the resources, care, and support they need to navigate the complexities of aging. We need to push for systemic changes that address the needs of our aging population, and we need to start doing this now before the problem becomes even more widespread and difficult to resolve. So where does that leave us? For me, it's about taking things one day at a time. The future feels vast and unpredictable, and there's so much beyond my control, but while I can't control what lies ahead, I can take steps right now to make sure I'm prepared as best as I can be. For instance, I've begun working on my living will, putting my wishes in writing so that they're clear. When the time comes, I've also been researching long-term care options, trying to get a better sense of what might be available, even though the thought of needing care someday is a little overwhelming. It's a tough process, and I won't lie. It brings up some unease and anxiety, but even with those feelings, I'm trying to hold on to hope. It's so easy to fall into a spiral of worst-case scenarios. I catch myself imagining what it would be like to be alone at 90, with no family nearby, struggling to make ends meet, or stuck in a nursing home where I feel forgotten. Those kinds of thoughts are unsettling, and they can make it hard to focus on what matters. But I know that kind of thinking doesn't serve me well. It doesn't help me move forward. So I do my best to focus on what I can control today. I ask myself, what small steps can I take now to make tomorrow just a little better? It's those little efforts, those everyday actions that can add up and make a significant difference in the long run. If you are still watching this video and finding these lessons useful, please comment number 2 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Thank you for your valuable time as we move through December, with the days growing shorter and the nights getting longer. I can't help but reflect on what truly matters. This time of year, with the cold settling in and the holidays approaching, often invites a sense of introspection. It's easy to think that we need all the answers, or that we should have everything figured out by now. But life isn't about having all the answers at once. It's not about fixing every problem immediately or reaching some final destination of peace and certainty. Life is much more about finding meaning in the small moments that fill our days, the quiet and simple things that bring us comfort and connection. I find meaning in those moments when I watch the snow falling softly outside my window. Each flake's a reminder that the world is still turning, even when things feel uncertain. I find meaning in sharing a warm laugh with a neighbour over a cup of coffee, or feeling the soothing warmth of tea in my hands as I sit in quiet reflection. These moments, so often taken for granted, have a way of grounding me in the present, helping me remember that life is not just about the big monumental things. It's about cherishing the little things that make our lives richer and more fulfilling, even when challenges arise. Even when the future seems daunting, those small moments of connection, beauty and peace make it all worth it. So if you're someone like me, an elder orphan, or someone who fears they might become one someday, I want you to know that you are not alone. There are more of us out there than we might think. Even though it can feel isolating at times, it's easy to believe that the world has moved on, that we're forgotten or invisible. But the truth is that we still have each other. Even in our most vulnerable moments, we still have the power to reach out, to support one another, and to share in the journey together. We can create communities of care where we can talk openly about our fears, our hopes, and the challenges we face without feeling ashamed or disconnected. So let's keep having these conversations. Let's continue to raise awareness about the realities of aging. Without family, the struggles of elder orphans, and the emotional toll it can take. Let's support each other in practical ways and emotional ways, lifting each other when the world feels heavy by sharing our experiences and our voices. We can face the uncertain future with a little more courage, a lot more empathy, and a stronger sense of hope. As we wrap up, I want to ask you, what have you learned so far about the reality of being an elder orphan and the importance of building connections as we age? Take a moment to reflect, and I'd love to hear from you. What is one thing you've learned today that you'll bring into practice in your own life? Please share it in the comments below. If you like this video, please leave your comment, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Together, we can keep this important conversation going and support each other in facing the challenges that come with aging. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.